It began with a whisper, a shadow slipping beneath the fading light over Tlaxcala's quiet villages. Families first noticed the boy standing just beyond the glass, a small figure no taller than 4 feet, his red cap vivid against the encroaching dusk. Doña Lucia, a local mother, described the first sighting vividly. He didn't move or speak. Just looked at us with those pale, almost translucent eyes. It was as if he was counting us, like time was running out. His presence was unsettling. A silent sentinel who seemed less like a child and more like a lingering question. No one dared call him by name. They only whispered about the boy in the red cap. Over weeks, these sightings multiplied, rippling through different households. Neighbors spoke in hushed tones of the same ghostly visitor. Yet, a strange pattern emerged. No family ever saw him twice. In one night, he would appear, a pale-eyed watcher, peering cautiously through cracked window panes or behind thin curtains. And then, just as suddenly, he would vanish, disappearing noiselessly into an invisible mist, like a secret swallowed by the night itself. Elderly residents remembered tales of children lost decades prior, but no one could pin down his identity. The boy never once moved from his silent post, he simply observed, an enigmatic figure caught in time. The emotional weight pressed upon the villagers. Families reported this apparition only moments before calamities. Fire breaking out mysteriously, sudden illnesses faltering the strongest members, or devastating accidents shattering the fragile calm of their lives. Rosario, whose house burned down in 2004, recalled, "He was there, watching. Then, hours later, the flames consumed everything. It felt like a warning we ignored." Fear mixed with sorrow. Was the boy in the red cap a harbinger of doom or a trapped spirit pleading to be heard? The air in Tlaxcala grew thick with dread that a child's silent gaze could unravel their worlds. Archivists and local historians pieced together a somber truth from faded municipal records. In 1931, a small boy was interred in a pauper's grave on the outskirts of Tlaxcala. The records described no name, no family, only a brief note mentioning a child in a red school cap. Poverty and illness were rampant then, and many passed without ceremony or remembrance. The child's identity was lost to time, but oral history suggested he was a student who had fallen ill and died alone, his belongings taken by others. His red cap, a rare symbol of care and schooling, remained as the only trace of his fleeting life. Psychics and mediums visiting the grave shared chilling accounts. The boy's spirit was present, but not malevolent. They described a restless child caught between worlds, trapped in a loop of grief and longing. One medium said she felt layers of sorrow and innocence intertwined, like a heartbeat echoing his last moments. The red cap manifested as a powerful symbol of identity and loss, representing both a childhood cut short and a spirit unable to find peace. Locals began to speak of the boy as a guardian of unfinished stories rather than a ghost of vengeance, deepening the tragedy embedded in the apparition. The pauper's grave became an unofficial site of pilgrimage for those seeking to understand the boy. Some left small tokens, a red cap, handmade toys, notes written with hopes for his peace. The community wrestled with collective guilt, questioning if neglect in life had translated into torment after death. The spectral sightings were no longer just terrifying. They became a haunting reminder that forgotten souls echo through history and into present lives. The emotional resonance between the boy's unknown life and the families now unsettled in their homes cast a veil of melancholy and unresolved justice over Tlaxcala. Among the most chilling accounts is that of the Ortega family, whose young daughter Anna was the first to spot the boy in 1999. Anna's mother, Marta, recalled the moment with a tremor. Anna was playing near the window when she stopped and stared. Then whispered about the boy with pale eyes and a red hat. "I thought it was imagination, but I felt it too, like someone was watching us." That night, my husband fell sick suddenly with no explanation. The boy's silent gaze left invisible imprints on the family psyche, a persistent anxiety shadowing their days. Their story exemplified how skepticism battled with an instinctive dread that something beyond understanding was real. Another witness, Jose, a skeptical schoolteacher, initially dismissed the boy as folklore until his own experience upturned his reality. Over a series of nights, he caught glimpses of the boy through his bedroom window, never uttering a word but always observing. After each sighting, inexplicable accidents befell his family. His sister was hospitalized due to a mysterious illness, and his home was nearly destroyed in a sudden fire. Jose's transformation from doubt to tentative belief reflects the deep psychological tension posed by the boy's apparition, forcing confrontation between reason and fear. Psychologically, the boy in the red cap instills a unique terror, one not born from aggression but from frozen sorrow. Families report a haunting stillness when he appears, an enveloping silence that gnaws at their sense of safety. Witnesses often describe a coldness that seeps into the bones, a heavy dread that blooms before he vanishes as if sucked back into another dimension. The boy never speaks, yet his pale eyes glimmer with profound sadness that lingers long after he fades. This emotional imprint unsettles not just belief but the very fabric of personal peace, leaving communities caught in cycles of fear and mourning. Psychics visiting Tlaxcala frequently interpret the boy's presence as a spirit caught in temporal limbo, endlessly repeating his silent vigil at windows. One prominent psychic, Maria Elena, described the phenomenon as a heartbreaking replay of loss frozen in time. He is not here to harm, but trapped by grief so profound he cannot move forward. The windows are portals, thresholds where he tries to connect but cannot speak his pain. These insights frame the apparition not as a menace, but as a tragic soul pleading for release or acknowledgement, shifting local perception from fear to compassion. Local folklore weaves the boy's story into traditional themes of children lost between life and death, known as niños fantasmas or ghost children, common in Mexican spiritual thought. He symbolizes innocence betrayed by hardship and forgotten history. The red cap itself is a powerful cultural relic, representing both childhood and vulnerability. Elders caution that the boy's return is a reminder of societal neglect and the importance of honoring those lost to poverty and disease. His ethereal looping presence emerges not just from individual grief but collective cultural memory bridging past and present. The spirit's loop also disrupts traditional beliefs about death and haunting. In Tlaxcala, the boy challenges the finality of passing by lingering without vengeance. His repeated, solitary appearances create an uneasy alliance between the living and the dead, interwoven with themes of unfinished stories and emotional stasis, a spectral echo trapped between farewell and memory. This phenomenon invites reflection on grief's complex spiritual dimensions and the mysteries that bind unresolved souls to the world they left behind. The boy in the red cap has cemented himself in Tlaxcala's collective consciousness as a symbol of unresolved sorrow and spectral warning. The community remains haunted not only by sightings but by the emotional scars left behind. Modern paranormal researchers frequently visit, drawn by the boy's elusive nature and consistent pattern of appearance before tragedy. Their investigations confirm the strange rule: no repetition in a single home, the signature pale eyes, and the silent, watchful demeanor. This consistency adds undeniable weight to his story's authenticity and eerie power. Culturally, the boy's legend influences local storytelling, art, and even ritual practices. Families prepare homes with protective charms or blessings in hopes of sparing themselves tragedy after a sighting. Some churches incorporate prayers for lost children believed to be in limbo, inspired by his story. This intersection of folklore, faith, and experiential fear mirrors wider Mexican approaches to death and spirituality, embracing both reverence and mystery. The boy in the red cap now bridges past darkness with present day, a ghostly reminder of mortality and compassion. Despite decades of appearances, the boy remains an unsolved mystery. His true identity, the nature of his unfinished grief, and whether he will ever find release continue to perplex locals and experts alike. His story represents a haunting lesson about forgotten histories, the power of unseen grief, and the fragile boundaries between life and death. In Tlaxcala, his pale eyes linger in memory, urging us to question the limits of understanding and the haunting weight of what remains unsaid.